Kia ora, this program is brought to you by Wellington Access Radio. Wellington Access Radio, make your voice heard.
And you're back on the Blackhouse on 106.1 FM. How are you this afternoon, Onkyo?
Pretty good, actually. Yeah.
Did you enjoy the Newtown Festival last week?
So much fun. I was out since 10 a.m. all the way till like late night.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't even get sore legs. I did one run up and one back, and that was me done.
Yeah, there were so many people, but I had to take a break just because I live in the flat, like in Newtown, so it was good.
Yeah.
But
you can. Yeah, when you live in Newtown, it's really handy. You can do a disappearing act and then pop out again later on and go, yay, I'm back.
And I saw you at the stall, which is really nice.
That stall was so much fun.
Yeah.
We ended up playing a lot of Afrobeat music later on in the afternoon.
Right.
And we managed to get right at closing.
Yep.
People from Esther's end of the, she was playing the last person on the south stage.
Yep.
And they all started wandering over to our little stall and dancing in the middle of the street. It's just so funny. But we put a little clip of that up on the crowd actually got a little bit bigger than that.
Really?
On that street, but everybody was packing up at the same time. So, because it takes a while to get all those stalls out of Newtown.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to go on because we've got another guest here today.
Yep, we do.
And I'm going to just do a little bit of, man, your resume is pretty impressive. You're a father of two, is that right? Three. Okay, you're father of three. He owns Near and Far Import-Export Limited in Kilburnie, Wellington. Graduated with a Masters of International Relations from Victoria University in 2019. You are on the board of the Miramar Central School and Amman community. You've written articles on the Ethiopian crisis for Incline, an online site that publishes original analysis and commentary on issues and trends that impact New Zealand's international relations. And so I would like to welcome to our show today, Nurredeen Mohamed. How are you?
Good. Thank you very much for having me, Leah.
Oh, you're more than welcome, mate. I'm trying to get as many people that have been involved in getting all this stuff together for the ACCW. But before we get, I'm not here to talk about me, right? We're here to talk about your opinions and your thoughts and just your views on what's going on. But before we do any of that, what I'd like you to do is, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and these roles that you have in the community at the moment? Go for it.
Cool. Thank you. I think before the roles, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a proud African, an apologetic Muslim, and proud New Zealander. So currently, because of all those things I carry as an identity, I get involved in the wider community to contribute my share, and that's why I joined Miramar Central School, where my sons go to school.
Right, okay.
So I'm a board member there, and I'm not just only a number. I always try my best to contribute on the board. Last week, there was a camp for the school where you take the kids for a couple of days.
Oh, I used to love school camps.
Yes, I went with the kids, and when we came back, I'm telling you, it's really heartwarming how the families, they send me like chocolate and postcards for just going. I just went for my kid,
Yeah.
but other people, they really appreciate when you just, your presence of in such an environment. So that's why I'm contributing in the wider community. And for my own community, I got involved previously in different organizations. For now, 2 years ago, there was a bit of a problem, and that's when I started an organization called AMAN, African Muslim Association of New Zealand.
Right, okay.
And actually, I'm the founder.
Yeah.
And currently, we have a space that where we pray, we rent it, and we also empowered our young people. We're paying for them just for the whole year where they play soccer indoor.
Right.
And we sponsor them in a lot of areas. So we're doing, I think, to some extent, in the community area as well.
Okay, so Amman is based where?
In Wellington.
Yeah.
Actually, you might not know, we have a center in Newtown.
Whereabouts in Newtown is that?
And kebab shop, you know the kebab shop, the
Les
kebab shop.
Yes.
At the back,
Right.
there's a room. That's where we are based, just next to the school.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know exactly. And they actually make the best kebabs in Wellington, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, the kebab shop is really good, but it's not the our place is at the back, not exactly the kebab shop. It's
Yeah.
when you go to the school.
Yeah.
It's at the back. There is a space.
So this
in a
is
room.
for is this an organisation that is for the adults to organise, or is it for, do the children actually go there?
It's for actually we also have a Quran class. We have teachers. I'm not really religious. I'm not really a scholar when it comes to teaching. Even though I love my religion, but we have scholars who are teaching children. They do teach Quran and some Arabic writing, and so we do have that class for children.
Yeah.
And women's are welcome. We for the whole community actually.
Now, I was looking for a website or something for that. Do you have a website for Amman?
And we don't, and we don't have a website. But in the future, maybe that's the area where we have to look at it.
Okay,
Yeah.
because that would be really interesting for people in the community that might not have known about it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
really cool.
We never work much on advertising our job, but we've been doing really good on the ground. I'm telling you, the community is very happy, and you know it's really interesting how racism is everywhere. You might not understand it. It's in a church, it's in a mosque, it's in your school, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So there is a reason when we started African Muslim Associations. And a lot of my community members, they were frustrated. They don't know what to do in some areas. And that's when I said I have to step up, do something. And we started the organization. I bring people together. We registered it. We rent a space. And so people are contributing for the place now.
Right.
We rent the place, and we also have some money in our account, which is really great.
Yeah.
Because of that contribution, we do some fundraising now and then.
Okay, where do you do your fundraising?
We just do it in the mosque.
Okay, like have barbecues and things like that?
We do cook food and we sell it, especially on Fridays when a lot of 100 people come to the place.
Oh, okay.
Actually, we don't have enough space. We will be looking for a bigger space for the fact that our members are getting bigger. And example, if you take on Friday, we just encourage families.
Do you mind, Onkyo, just move the microphone a little bit closer? Yeah.
Yeah, so on Friday, because of the numbers we can accommodate, we encourage families to pray in other mosques.
Okay.
So, yeah, in the future we will be doing more of that when we get a bigger space.
Oh, right. Do you ever do the barbecues like outside the warehouse or Bunnings or anything like that in more mainstream areas?
We haven't done that, but we had a barbecue, a community barbecue. It's for free just to bring people together.
Yeah.
But when it comes to fundraising in such a way, we never did.
Okay.
But it's a good idea to look at it in the future.
Okay, well, now me and you, we were on the working group together, and for the last 4 months. So that was like really intense time, and there's a lot of debating and questioning of things to do with the Constitution, and lots of all these different issues that came up because of the situation with the ACCW when we were all made aware of what was going on. So I found you to be a very diplomatic individual. You're a strategist. You look for balance and fairness in discussions. You have great public speaking skills. So what do you think you would bring to any of these roles what do you think you would bring to these roles on the boards of Miramar Central School, Aman, and the working groups process over the last few months? What do you think your skill sets are?
First of all, really, it was I've really been proud of being in the working group. If you allow me to actually name all the working groups to say thank you very much for their hard work, for our young people like Mandela and Nathan and Yared, for our elders like Adam and Deji, and if I can call you my elder as well, you.
Me.
That's amazing. Honestly, what we did was just amazing. And for Sister Elma as well.
Yeah.
Did anyone else I forgot?
It was very intense. Modi, yeah.
So it's unbelievable. So a lot of stress we have gone through, but we did it. Yeah. I think we come this far, and I really want to say thank you to the whole team, and we stick together through all this process. So
you really need a thick skin for that process, because there's so many different views and so much diversity even within that group. Yeah. So what do you think that what do you think are those skill sets that you brought to the organisations that you're involved with, but also to the working group in that process? Well,
I think sometimes it's really good to have speaking skills. Sometimes it's good to be strategic, but exactly knowing what to do is one of the things I brought to the working group. Let's take example when I shouldn't be mentioning name. When one of the person, he doesn't want to be, after he say he's gonna resign, but he said no. What we did, I just went to one of his friends with few people, using other people to convince them. Otherwise, we were thinking, we can take legal actions. What are we going to do next? We were confused. We did a lot of works, and then someone just turned around, I'm not going to do it, what I promised. So that is a strategy we used. We just went to someone, hey, come, work with us.
Yeah.
So sometimes for the common goal, you need to work with people that you think are not even in your team. You have to compromise. After we brought that individual into our group, the group even became really stronger. And this is where I want to be acknowledging again. Really, thank you to Brother Tendakai, Rodney.
Right.
He did a lot of things from the background. So I think that kind of knowledge where to go when you need something, who to contact, is what I brought to the group. And the second thing is, when things get emotional, we tried in the working group to respect each other. The most important thing is we want to unite the community, but we also need to be united.
Yeah.
We need to be tolerant of each other. So I think I was very respectful for others in the group, and that by itself in our community is one of the value that we need to build on. Respecting each other. But that doesn't mean not to be critical of each other. We should be very critical of each other. When we do that, we shouldn't be forgetting, at the end of the day, we are brothers. We are sisters. We are families.
Do you think that, this is just an aside, do you think that being critical of each other is quite challenging for some people because Oh, it's just quite challenging. What do you think is quite challenging about being critical?
I think, look, if we take some of our leaders previously, I think they are good people, but their understanding of the community, their understanding of how to manage communities is not really to that level.
Right.
And then when you criticize them, what kind of critics? Are you just criticizing them for the sake of criticism, or are you criticizing them to correct them? So instead of just saying critical thinking and putting a lot of things, if you just go there, uncle, having coffee with them, that might gonna change a lot of things if you are talking to them and just, you have to use different things.
Yeah, different tactics.
Different tactics. If I'm talking to you, coffee might not gonna work. I just have to be honestly telling you what needs to be told. So that's what I mean, the respect. The critics, one place is very important. Where you're going to criticize someone.
Right.
If you're going to stand up in the whole community telling, hey, in the way that making that person to feel unvalued in the whole community, that's, I think, is not criticism. That's an attack.
Right.
But if you say to the individual, hey, can you do this in such a way? And if that person is not listening to you, you can even approach through different channels. And so basically what I'm saying is criticism should be addressed differently by different people in different circumstances.
Right. Yeah, because it doesn't seem to be a one formula fits all for being able to critique ourselves. I think there's something about not being comfortable with critiquing ourselves very much, and I'm wondering how much of that's got to do with leadership examples, say from the continent, where you have a lot of people that put themselves in positions of power and then just stay there and they don't move. And when anybody critiques them, they send out their secret whatever to get rid of anybody who's critiquing them. I mean, we've had classic examples of that in certain countries across Africa where you have that kind of leadership. Do you think that maybe people are fearful, perhaps, or cautious about critiquing because of those kind of leadership examples?
It can be. That might be, for some people, that might be the reality. But if we're talking about the critics, as I said, what we need to be addressing, what we want to achieve. We want to achieve something, right?
Yeah.
And then how we're going to achieve it is the question. If criticizing that person or individual or the system is going to make us where we want to our destination, let's do it in such a way. But if not, we need to find different ways.
Yeah.
So I think in general what I'm saying is if people are afraid of critic, especially if they become a leader, they shouldn't be afraid of critics.
Yeah.
They should accept that.
Yeah.
That's not going to be the reality for them.
Exactly.
They are putting themselves there. They should be open for any kind of critics. But I'm talking about the general idea of the criticism, how we address it to it.
Yeah. Yeah, because somebody said to me yesterday, if you're a leader, you're going to have enemies. And if you don't have enemies, then you're not a leader.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Because
you think so?
When you do
is that an African saying? Because I don't know if he just made that one up on the spot.
No, I think you don't necessarily have to have an enemy. But when you do something, there are people who always will be against it, or even if they are not against what you are doing, they will be against on how you are going to do it or how you have done it.
Or even the fact that it's you doing it.
Exactly.
You know, like,
Yep.
yeah.
So you can't run away from that. But what you need to do is, if you are a leader, you don't have to even care about those kind of things. You are working for what you believe. You are not working to be loved.
Yeah.
You are working for what you believe, just to put out there.
Yeah.
If you really believe in it, just love, and that's what it can come by itself.
Right.
If you are running after people to love you, just go and sell ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
If you want to put yourself in leadership,
I'd love you if you sell ice cream.
well,
Yeah. So long as it's dairy-free ice cream, because I just found out I'm lactose intolerant.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to go to a little break now. We got a track here from Kavka. He's gone from the UK. He came to New Zealand. He's now Melbourne-based. Kavka teamed up with his longtime friend Leniak to bring a striking back and forth dynamic on No Lacking, and an emphasis on aggression, passion and honesty is a common thread throughout the formerly Hamilton-based artists' multitude of sounds, and No Lacking highlights this extremely well. Kavka used to be a strong fixture on the Wellington circuit, so here's his track. No Lacking.
Off the porch. Hopped off the porch, jumped on a plane, never been the same. I run the game, went through my sneaks, late night they creep. I spot the ops, y'all getting preed.
I hide the dope inside the sink. Bitch, I'm the plug. I feed the streets. Up like the ceiling. I'm high like Venus. Jump in the booth, unleash the beast. Run me the check, bitch. I'm about that action like an assassin. I pulled the beat inside the casket. Pass me the mop. I clean the op. I serve the block.
Y'all counting coins, y'all counting C's. I count the racks, fly overseas. I see your neck, she loving me. When spending the night, this dick ain't free. Henny with the bop like, Henny off the rocks like, this shit blocks. 808 like Debo, come and knock it out your socks, knock it out your lights, run it out on sight, locate your trap, invade your sight, get girl to pop, fuck up your life, fuck up your day, fuck up your night.
Out of the porch, jumped on the plane, never been the same. I run the game, run through my sneaks, late night they creep. I spot the ops, you're getting paid.
And we're back. We're back.
Yep, we're back.
We're back on the Blackhouse on 106.1 FM. And we're talking with Nurredeen here. You were really good at... Oh, no, first of all, tell us how you became involved in that, after that first meeting on the 20th of... before that first meeting, how did you become aware that people were wanting to do this? Because I was at the Luo event that happened where the discussion spontaneously happened there. So, like, how did you get tagged into it?
well, actually I was invited to the Lua community meeting.
Oh, really?
Yes, I was invited, but unfortunately my son, he got soccer.
Okay.
We went to Peru area and then we came back and we got a bit tired and we didn't make it to the event. Mm-hmm. After the event, someone called me and about the issue, told me how the discussion happened about African Community Council. Because, this has been happening for a very long time. People was demanding for change. The whole community was just really wanting something to happen.
Yes.
But no one never grouped to act on it. So that's when the next day again, Adam also called me and saying that, hey, this is what's happening. Do you hear? I said, yep. So what are you guys up to? He said, okay, we just thinking to do this. And from there on, I didn't get much from him. But later on, he told me how the meeting was happening and the first meeting.
Right, yeah.
And then when the first meeting happened, I was just waiting for the time, the right time. So I came to the meeting, and I did my contribution in the meeting, just through talking or whatever. And from there on, that's how working group becomes to formed.
Yeah.
So,
So I found that you are really good at chairing. You were really good at chairing the working group. after one of the members left temporarily. We had all these meetings that we've had over the last 3 months with you, being sort of like one of the main organisers. Were you always like one of the main organisers in the back with setting the agendas and stuff like that from the beginning, or was that something that you took on more after one of the other members had to go away for a little bit?
Well, as you know, in the working group, we never had a structure saying that you are a leader, you are a deputy, blah blah. We never had that, and we discussed that. We intentionally avoided to have that hierarchy. But we realized after one of the members left, we said that it's time to have someone who's going to be saying something on behalf of us, because when you go out, if someone is engaging on behalf of the working group and dealing whatever issues with other people, especially after the other group came into saying that we are the one who will be responsible for ACCW now, and then they said, oh, you guys, if you want, you can apply a membership, and then we can accept you. And we said, no, that's not going to happen. You know how things were. It
was very confusing because of the two different constitutions and what was actually legal, or what was not legal, but what was actually legitimate and illegitimate, and all those different constitutional issues that came up around that, from what I remember. So like being somebody that has a background in international relations, if you were to get in the working group or the IC, it'd be like having, like you're learning international relations without leaving New Zealand, because our community is so diverse, right? So if it came to becoming an executive of the board of ACCW, what kind of things do you think you'd be able to bring to that position? Are you even interested in running for it? Because there's nothing clearly defined about that in the Constitution from what I've read. So, like what are your thoughts on that?
To be honest with you, Leah, I think the community needs a lot, and this is African community. Yeah, we are even smaller than a smaller community which represents one ethnic, maybe. Okay, there we can, let's say, you can take as an example any African countries that currently in New Zealand. Let's say South Sudan or Lua, Ethiopia, and Eritrea. African Community Council is smaller in presence in anything to do than those individual communities. Yeah. So I think that's why we really need to be worried about our community. We all need to be worried, and we have to do something. At this stage, I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to run or not, but what I want is the community that united to do for all our people. The community, and whoever going to come to that position, I want the individual that understands the multi-layered challenges. Yeah. Our challenge was not only an individual who was leading the organization. No, it's not. An interest group. There are so many things in this community. So we need to understand the multi-layered challenges. That's the first thing. Secondly, understanding by itself is not enough. You need to know how to address it. And when you know how to address it, you can't do it by yourself. You need to know that. That means you need to have a network.
All right, yeah.
Okay? You might be someone who really knows what's happened, and you don't know what to do. Maybe you know what to do, you know what happened, but you don't have a network. Yeah. Okay? So there are a lot of things, the combination of things that you need.
Yeah, because I'm just going to rewind back to what you said first about, like, we do have a lot of these smaller councils, like the Malawi Council, the Nigerian Council. We've even got a Tanzanian Council now, which we've never had before. This is the first one. We've got Tanzania in Australia, but now they've got a Tanzanian Australian Council, but this is the first time I've seen one in New Zealand. So, and they've got there's that whole thing of working with one's ethnic group in Africa, but this African community councils is all of them all coming together. So is what you're saying is that one should be the strongest, or that one should be the most influential over these other ones? Or are you saying that it's odd that the individual ones have a lot of access, whereas this one is... Okay,
exactly, that's what I'm talking about. It's a shame, actually. No, it's good in one way. Those individual community organizations, they should even get better. But it's shame. The bigger one, the African Community Council, is weak.
Right.
What I'm saying is, let's make this one the one that represents all of us.
Right.
I want to see. We also need to be thinking that we are African. We are a small community, if you take from the whole population, we need to be focusing on what's going to be advantages for our community. How are we going to be united?
Yeah.
Africa is the one that's going to unite us. So the African Community Council should be, I think, like, how Multicultural Council or the others, I think should be even stronger than those communities.
Right.
So we should be investing our knowledge, our money, our time in this organization to make it better. I'm just calling for all Africans in New Zealand to contribute to this.
Great. Okay, I'm going to come back to you in a minute. We're going to go to another track now. And this track, let me tell you what it is. This track is Cranium. At this point, it feels like we can't go a week without Jess B blessing us with a new collaboration. This time, the Kenyan Kiwi artist is alongside Jamaican dancehall legend Cranium to bring some inter-islander heat. So this is Cranium featuring Jess B with Toxic.
I know I've been toxic, know I've been not shit, but we still got this, let the lames gossip. Waist clock tick, earn and we profit. We ain't perfect, but you know that we on our boss shit. What you know about the life I be living, what you know about the life that I live. All I know is that I need you with me. Baby, if you be my one and only, I got you and you know that. You got me and I know that. Clear toxins, ain't no going back, know that. Let's make memories a throwback. She said, you ignore me and make me look dumb. Now we back in bed and you can't run. Caught up in a world of twisted love. And I know that it's toxic, girl. Toxic, it's so good, but I know that it's wrong. Toxic, I ain't even tripping, I know you like it. Times I can't stand you, you make me sick. It's so good, but I know that it's wrong. Toxic, yeah. Hate to admit it, but we stuck like you. You did me wrong, but I want more, yo. Now I'm thinking about your body. You drive me crazy with a pretty face, yeah. Every day we have bed. We coming like we have bed. This love too strong, it's worse than a spell. Hey, you got me up in my feelings. I'm tearing off a big secret. You got my heart in pieces. Oh yeah, going through seasons. She said, you ignore me and make me look dumb. Now we back in bed and you can't run. Caught up in a world of twisted love. And I know that it's toxic, girl. Toxic, it's so good, but I know that it's wrong. Toxic, I ain't even tripping, I know you like it. Times I can't stand you, you make me sick. It's so good, but I know that it's wrong. Toxic, yeah. Toxic.
And that was Jess B with Cranium on their track Toxic. No, is it? Yes, it was. Toxic. Yeah, here I go. Straight after the songs, and my mind is somewhere else. But I'm back in the game now. All right, Nurredeen. We're going to go straight into what do you think? So, what do you think? Post-elections, this is. Some of the biggest hurdles the ACC or issues the ACC would need to address immediately. Do you think they'll be structural, like the way the council is set up? Do you think they're constitutional issues, like the rules and the regulations, maybe needing a complete overhaul or something like that? Or do you think it's social issues and getting projects off the ground? So, yeah.
Well, I think that's a really good question. As we said, the first thing is just to have the right leaders at this time. Once we get that one, I think we can put a lot of those things to those, and then they can address it. But all of them are very important. Example, social issue. If you are a community organization, you need to address it. And structural issue. Yes, definitely. That's why the organization is weak. That is why it has been weak for a long time. Structure is very important. And the third point you raised is, you say structure.
Structural, constitutional.
Well, constitution, we have seen it, how difficult it is.
Yeah.
The more we read through, the more things that we need to solve.
There's a lot of holes, isn't there?
So, but the constitution only comes when there is a leadership gap. If something is functioning well, a lot of time you don't even question about constitutions. When something is not working, constitution is only a paper where you need to follow to guide you through what you want to do.
And the people control the constitution, right? So the
Exactly.
members decide what parts of the constitution stay in, what stay out, what need to be adjusted.
Exactly. One thing I'm very happy about this process, we managed to empower communities in the future. They can change the constitution at any stage because individuals, they do have a power now. You can be a member, you can vote, you can change. So tomorrow, if we don't like some of the constitutions, we can put on as agenda, get a meeting, change it.
Thinking about the constitution and its structure, all the governance, the red tape, and also the vagueness. There's vagueness. There's things that don't have an answer, so it's open to interpretation. There's flexibility that could be applied there. There's maybe even common sense that could be applied there. But do you think it's something that young people growing up in New Zealand, because a lot of these ones that are in their early 20s now have been born or raised in New Zealand, do you think that the constitution as it is something that these young people can work with, or is it just out of touch and a little bit cumbersome?
I think that's really a tough question, to be honest, for two reasons. One, I'm not in my early 20s.
What moisturizer do you use? And I need to get some of that.
The second thing is that young people, if I might say on behalf of them, they don't really care much of the constitution, what you write here, articles this, article that. They really want to do the real job on the ground. And they have been doing it. Look at those Black Lives Matter, what they did.
Yeah.
Okay? What constitution did they follow? Which community organization support them? Okay? So young people, just give them something, they will deliver it to you. If a community trusts young people, if community give them an opportunity, they will deliver it. But in our case, I'm really a bit scared because of the way we are, young people will be pushed aside. When we fight, they see that and they say, oh, this is what's going to happen to me tomorrow. That's why I'm saying when sometimes we criticize each other, we should be worrying about how the others are listening to us. You know? So that's why we need to use really, really strategies that attract young people into the community, they are a positive. They got a positive energy. They don't have time for negativity. So they want to do. I think that's what pushed them rather than the constitution. Of course, the constitution can be changed in any area that can
maybe
empower
modernized
communities.
a little bit.
No doubt about the constitution. Okay, before election we can't do it, unfortunately now.
Yeah.
But after election, there will be some areas that we have to look at it.
Yeah.
And whoever is going to come into it, they should be looking at it and change it. But that's not the most important pressing issue for our community now.
What do you think is the most pressing issue right now?
Leah, you know how you've been talking about centers. We don't even have. Look, I told you, Ahmad, we are a small organization. We have at least where we get together.
Exactly. Yeah.
How come African Community Council, we have no one, nowhere to go to talk to? Live building a big center. That's really one of the good project.
Are you talking about centralization, like having a focal point?
I don't want to use the centralization, but I think I want to use it. You see, this is where my international relation comes in.
Yeah.
So
I can't think of a better word. Sometimes I use words that sound like it might be the right one.
Communities can have their independence. Okay, let them do what they are doing. But we also have common things.
Yeah.
Okay, are you an Orthodox church who's doing your thing? You have a church, do good. Are you a Muslim who's doing something? Good. Are you young people? You got young organization there? Good. A woman group? Good. Let's come together.
Right.
This is Africa.
Yeah.
Let's do something that benefit us. Let's celebrate our example. When it's Christmas, why we can't come together to celebrate Christmas?
Yeah.
I'm a Muslim. Call me. I'll come to join you to celebrate.
Yeah, I celebrate.
When it's Ramadan, when it's Eid time.
Yeah. Bring me the samosas.
You were asking. No, I'm not joking. We were talking how in
mandazi.
Africa, in Tanzania and Ethiopia, how we live in harmony. Why we can't bring it here?
Exactly.
So what we need to get a little bit out of this politics. Let's know a little bit more about each other. Let's be real friends that support each other. In hard time, in a good time. Let's empower our young people at university in a lot of ways.
Because there's definitely balances to be struck on several different fronts here: communication, understanding, tolerance, and sharing of stuff. And sometimes those balances are difficult to strike because of the way different people interpret different things. Like I was saying to you before, something that that one person may think is honest, another person may think is being rude. Sometimes when a person feels they're being polite, another person may feel that's being vague, because we're all coming from these different environments. Some are from Africa that have moved here, some have grown up here. The way that we look at the way things are moving forward, there'll be young people going, oh, can't we just do this faster? And then there's people who say, well, we sort of got to wait for the elders to come up and whatnot. I think that there's so many different things. There's so many balances that need to be struck on a lot of different fronts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, Leah, look, 1 year ago, even though you've been in New Zealand since you're born, even though Africans been here for a long time, even though I've been here more than 13 years, I didn't know nothing about you a year ago.
No.
Okay? But
I've only been back 5 years.
No, I'm just saying, example, now we know each other. I know how to talk to you. I know what is sensitive to you. I know how I can deal with you. Now you know me as well. I think what we need is the community needs to learn each other.
Yeah.
The more we know each other, what I think of critic may be rude for you. So I know, Leah thinks this way, so this is rude for her. I might have to use another thing. So you know what I was doing when I was talking before about critic?
Yeah.
So I know how to engage with you. If you are a university professor, the way I talk to you about issues is completely different from a layman person.
Right.
Who is sitting in Newtown, people's coffee and sitting, and if we are discussing about community issues, you can say, Constitution article this says this, and this is what we are doing. You can't talk with some of the people about this. Okay?
I mean, like people who have academic backgrounds, if you're not around academics all the time, speaking in that language just goes over people's heads. You know, you've got to adjust your language, your tone, your candor, all the different things. Being a working class person, sometimes I have to adjust my language when I'm around, you know, people that are middle class. You know, like I come from my background. I can drop F-bombs every 5 seconds if it's necessary for the conversation in construction, right? And that's my background, working in construction and mining. But it's not the language that I'd use in other environments. Yeah. You know what I mean? But so
exactly. The other thing we need to remember is we are young communities. Okay. Imagine how, even though in 1960s African students came here, in 1970s, 80s, but in general, we are young.
The bulk of our community is
very young.
Been since
here.
Yeah, since the 90s, late 80s.
Exactly,
yeah.
90s, 80s.
Yeah, because there was that
2000.
huge gap in the 70s to 80s. There was a gap there.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what we need is a community that unites us. So we learn about each other. We learn tolerance of each other. And that's how we can go forward.
Okay. Now, you brought up... okay, well, now let's go on to you as a parent, right? Now, your children are born in New Zealand?
Yes.
Right. What would you like to see addressed by the ACCW politically or socially for African diaspora people in New Zealand? Because now your children are part of the New Zealand African diaspora. So what would be something that you'd like to see happen?
I think we all don't have answer to those questions, but I have questions again.
More questions?
Basically, that's right. Imagine my son is growing up here. He currently plays, example, for C2 in the Premier League. He's 10 years old.
Yeah.
What I want is for him to have more of people who looks like him to play soccer with him.
Right.
That means at least African Community Council that can train our young children, getting sponsorship, bringing them together once a week, once a month, I don't know. I need that to happen so he can make friends. I want him to learn about Tanzanians. I want him to grow up with his Tanzanian brother. I want him to grow up with his Nigerian brother. Now, currently, I'm taking my son when I go to masjid after iftar. He's socializing with Indians, Africans. When we go to the Amman Center, he's socializing with Somalians, Nigerians, South Africans. But what I want him also to socialize my Christian brother from Nigeria, Christian brother from Tanzania, where they also have a common things together.
Common heritage?
Exactly. So we need a community that entertains this kind of unity, thinking all of us bringing together.
Yeah.
So that's what we need. In Amman, we have a children program, I told you. Why we can have, as African Community Council, where we allocate some time a week or once a month, I don't care what it is, but where they come together, socializing or teaching them about our culture, I don't know. But we need to do something in that regard.
What about your daughter? Because you've got a daughter, yeah?
Yes, she plays soccer too.
Oh, wow.
And she also plays netball. They both do taekwondo as well.
I'm not surprised she plays netball. I was a gun up until I busted my knee. Yeah. There was actually an African netball team back here. We started one back in the 90s. Like, some things had gotten off the ground in the 90s, but then there was this huge void in the 00s because around mid-00, so many people left and went to Australia, for work, for better opportunities. How do you think the ACCW could be influential in affecting opportunities for African, this is one I'm just coming off the top of my head now, opportunities for African people right here in New Zealand? Because that was one of the things that happened in the mid-2000s. A lot of people left because opportunities weren't present. We do a lot of celebrating individuals, but we have yet to see an entire African middle class neighborhood. We've got individuals who are middle class, but we don't have. It's like it's not like we're. You know what I mean? It's not like you see an entire neighborhood like Kelburn full of African people that own their own homes and things like that. Like how could the ACC be influential in those in that regard to changing prospects for all Africans, African heritage people in New Zealand?
If I got your question right, I think that take us to the right leadership again. You know, everything is about leadership, Leah. I honestly believe in that, because if we get the right people there who knows what to do, if they bring the communities together, if we get a child program, a youth program, and women's, all those things, if we structure it, and the community coming together, celebrating their differences and their unity as well, through recognizing everyone's contribution, that's how we can uplift the profile of our community. And we can also campaign for African community interest in this country. If we are strong, we can campaign for jobs,
housing.
Housing
has been one.
Well, you know, it's many things. It's so many. We have so many issues here. We can't mention all of them. We can be here for the whole night. Yeah, that's why we need a stronger community organization that can speak for us. People may be coming every day to you, you know,
and not having any.
As simple as that, to ask you a letter for immigration to bring their families. Which community can I write for them?
Yeah, or a reference.
This is a simple thing, a reference thing.
Work reference, or problems with WINS or StudyLink, or and I would like to see the ACCW being somewhere you could refer people to, and there would be people there that could actually help you and would be invested, really invested in supporting you with advocacy and fighting for your rights, basically. I actually see housing as a right. I don't see it as a privilege in this country. So and it's unfortunate we're at that stage now where we're really having to question the treaty that New Zealand signed on for, which is the Treaty of Human Rights, and housing is named in that. And because just over the last couple of years, I've noticed that there has been this issue with housing, and it does affect African people adversely if you're not in a really good job with a really good income. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you say it all, and what we need is when I was in one of the community organization, NGO, example, I can mention it, CRF, they used to have about...
What is CRF?
Changemakers Refugee Forum. They have about 500,000 a year budget, okay?
Yeah.
And who started that organization? An African man.
Right.
Adam.
Right.
Currently, we have young people. I'm not saying Adam should be taking the next leadership. We have people here who can make ACCW better than some of those organizations we started.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
I started a man not long ago. Now, not even 2 years, I'm telling you. 2 years ago. Now we have a place where we call it, at least, Come Together, where we teach our children.
Yeah.
And where we socialize. There are so many others who are doing so many things out there. We have unbelievable potential in our community. Yeah. We have seen it, a glimpse of it in the WhatsApp chat we're doing. How potentially people are. So we need to bring those people, put them on the table. Not only the executives, by the way. All the resource, knowledge of our people needs to be utilized for the benefit of our communities right here. And we can do that.
So we've got to really encourage, this is what you're saying, we've got to really encourage those people that have these skill sets to come forward, nominate yourself, nominate themselves if they want. Yes. I think that's the easiest way if you want to be in, if you want to be in the nominations, is nominate yourself and approve it yourself from what I can see from that form. We've got those 3 extra people that makes up 11 on the executive. And I'm sort of like, I've been asking questions about that because I definitely think communications and a projects manager is which have been brought up in the thread are actually quite insightful for where we are right now. But, the time we are in right now in 2021, having somebody who knows technology and can get this information up on the website, can get this stuff. Lawyers, all this issue about lawyers, do we have lawyers out there? Then please put your hand up. But I really agree with your ideas about us really being strong in this. I think that's essential. Lastly, as you know, you brought it up just earlier too, the desire in the community for an African Community Resource Centre. Now, we talked a little bit about that, has been raised several times in the last 4 months. Now, how urgent do you think that project is off the ground post-elections? Do you think it's something we need to smash into it, smash it out straight away? And if so, wouldn't then a project manager be important? Or is it something that we need to put on, say, after overhauling the Constitution or something like that? How urgent do you think that is currently? And I'll give you 1 minute to answer that question.
Sure. I think what we need to do is there has to be a strategy, short-term goal and long-term goals.
Right.
So we're going to say, what is the problem in our community? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do we really want? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When we want it.
When do we want it? Now.
You see? And then if it's now, do we have the resource? How are we going to get it? So you have to answer all those questions. I do see how the importance of that. I was telling you, we've been talking about it previously. So, but when you operationalize it, how you're going to do it, I think has to be a big discussion.
Oh, absolutely.
And one thing I can really, really appreciate is you are the one, people been thinking whatever, but you are the one who put that idea into people's mind from the previous meeting.
Yeah.
I think people like you should be pushing whoever is going to come, the next executives. Hey, I think this is a good idea. And I think I know someone who can help you. I think this is the plan. This is what we need. So that's how we should be working together. We can't say, we elected now 5 people or 11 people. They're going to solve all our problems.
No, they can't.
What we do is we need to work with them. We are electing people that we can work with. We are not...
No, that's key.
Yeah, exactly.
People that are open to being worked with. Yeah?
Yes. We are not just saying you're going to do everything for us. We're saying, hey, I'm going to come to you when someone calling me for simple as letter. I'm calling you, hey, can you write this letter for this person?
Yeah.
You're connecting your communities too. Yeah. You say, we need this. How are we going to do it?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming in today.
That program was brought to you by Wellington Access Radio. Get your voice heard.
Thanks New Zealand On Air for funding accessmedia.nz.